What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at, people. So we got one right here where this young lady is saying that she purposely goes out of her way to make men's lives basically a living hell. So, man, we're going to check this out. We're going to see what she has to say. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
There are some ways that I try to inconvenience men in my
Mm-hmm.
daily life. And before people comment that I'm a man-hating woman and this is why men don't like me and are mean to me and this is why men hate women, it's actually not why. Because I tried to be nice to men and I tried to make them understand how their actions have consequences and it didn't work. So now I'm treating them the way they treat everyone else.
See, the hold on.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Yeah, we're not even 30 seconds into this yet. Listen, look here, baby. It's not your job to teach people consequences. That's God's job. Now, whether you believe in God or not, that's your personal issue. I don't care really what, said. It is what it is. But all I'm saying is, though, when people tend to go out of their way, and these are known facts, when people tend to go out of their way to try to prove to somebody that they've, that they shouldn't have done something, or, go out of their way to, try to make sure that these people learn their lesson and all this other type of egregious crap, they tend to end up on the wrong side of the situation when you're going out of your way trying to do something that you have no need to do. Just life will teach these people where they're going wrong at, not you, ma'am. And you will end up putting yourself in a position to where, yeah, like you said, well, men may not like me, and this is okay, because you're trying to do something that you should be doing.
First one's very simple, and I've heard people talking about this on TikTok, and I think it's so important as a woman to start doing this for yourself and for society at large, especially if you live in a walkable city or if you're in a crowded place like an airport. You have to watch where you're going, move out of people's way. In my experience, men don't tend to do that, especially if they're walking in groups. They expect you to move out of their way, and if they're on their phone, they're not looking because they expect everyone to move out of their way.
I don't think that's kind of how that goes. Like, if they're on their phone, like, I mean, I get it. It's probably some dudes out here that are assholes, just like some women, but for her to just try to like go out of her way to try to inconvenience other people to prove a point, she, she's stupid.
And so I don't do that anymore. Instead, I walk as straight as possible if I think that a man is going to run into me. And if he doesn't move out of the way at the last minute and runs into me, I glare at him because I think they learn. They have to learn. The next one is actually more of a movement that I'm starting with a hashtag and everything. Like it's 2016. Like I'm serious about this. And it's man spread back. I live in New York, so I take public transportation every single day. And I have started to notice how men sit versus how women sit on public transportation. And I'll give you an example of each. Typically, women are trying to put their legs together to make themselves smaller. Their bags are on their lap to let other.
That's not because women are trying to make themselves smaller. Women just supposed to keep their legs closed. That's an old school saying, old school rule. She don't know nothing about it.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Yeah. Ain't no woman supposed to be sitting around with her legs wide open, cocked all in the air and this and that and in the public. Ladies sit with their legs closed. Bats don't. Now she's sitting around here talking about some trying to teach men to keep their leg. We have something we just naturally sit that way. A lot of women don't understand that. That's not done on purpose, low key. It's really not. We actually sit that. It just happens that way because we're different between the legs than you all are. Jesus Christ, man. This is ridiculous out here. The knowledge that has been forgotten by women and also by men. I don't understand this shit. This is crazy to me. Sorry, but we just naturally sit that way.
People sit down, right? Because it's a public space for everyone. More often than not, when a man is sitting down on public transportation or anywhere else, he's sitting like this, at least like this. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes there's a bag next to him. Either way, he's not thinking about how much space he's taking up because he's never been told he's had to. That's why if a man is spreading next to me on the subway, get one of these. I put my knee over his leg Oh yeah, two can play at that game. Two can play at that game. And there's a heel on my boot, so I would watch out. The last one I have for you today, like the rest, very simple, but incredibly effective. And that's just reminding men how loud they're being. Again, often something they don't think about because they've never had to, but they often should. Just last night, I was walking with my friend, leaving a concert, and there was a group of guys behind us that was yelling so loud, like for no reason. Like they were walking in a line right next to each other, and one of them was just screaming because he didn't feel like he had to be ashamed of what he had to say. Isn't that crazy? So I often in this situation will tell men, we're right here. That's a good one. Or, let's take it down a notch. So let me know if there's any I should add to my list, and let me know if you try any of these and how it feels.
Who is she to parent a grown man? Let's
What the French toast is there to think about?
take it down a notch. Let's take it down a notch. No, ma'am, you keep going where you're going. And see, this is the problem that people are doing nowadays. This is the issue here. And then when you run into some dude that's a psychopath or something like that, because he needs to take it down a notch. Then you want to scream to high heaven, well, all men do this, and all men, they attack women, and all men they just don't, they're just not good people, and all men. No, ma'am, mind your own business. You out here trying to parade yourself out here, trying to correct people like you some correct, like you Joan of Arc, the correct warrior. And you gonna fool around and say something to the wrong person one day. Mind your own business. And as far as what she was talking about sitting down and stuff, we just, like I said before, we just naturally sit that way. We're not going out of our way to actually, do that on purpose. Men, we just naturally sit that way. I don't understand well, a lot of things have been forgotten in today's society. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to sit around here and think, men are just supposed to conform to these new age factors and stuff like that, but not understanding that, by nature, men are men, and by nature, women are women. But it's just at this point, women can kind of, escape their nature a lot more quicker and a lot more faster than men can in today's society. So little things like she's talking about, and then she's gonna, throw her leg up over his to prove a point and all this other type of stuff. It's like, baby, listen, look, man, ain't no need for you to do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't uncomfortable as a lady sitting like that. Women ain't never been that truly uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, though, you don't have the, between each of our legs are totally different. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's just a difference, and there's nowhere around that, man. And these are scientific facts, biology. You can pull all of it in there. It just is what it is, man. And men are tired of this type of thought process right here, where women think that they just run around and try to be the correct police and tell me how I'm supposed to sit and taking up space and stuff like that. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, with little space, if he have to, maneuver and push come to shove, he'll maneuver. But obviously, wherever she was, them guys didn't feel like they had to maneuver, or didn't feel like they had to shut up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes some of these chicks be over exaggerating shit too. To try to, go viral or prove their point and stuff like that. But this is crazy though, and highly disrespectful, man. She need to shut up and sit her ass down somewhere, man, before she run into the wrong idiot out here. Because every man is not sane, just like every woman is not sane. You got to watch you got to watch your surroundings and who you talking to. You know what I'm saying? Before you end up somewhere where you don't want to be. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.